Our name is the one sound that we utter out of our mouth that represents our past, our present, and our future. In the middle of the pandemic, the event around George Floyd happened, and it just ignited this entire movement around equity and anti-racism. And I noticed everybody, my colleagues, teachers, my friends, my family, everybody was talking about racism and anti-racism and telling me, like, we need to do this and do that. And yet, in their spaces, I still notice educators and adults going to work, going to their daily lives, doing all kinds of microaggressions towards people of color. And for example, teachers persuading their children to change their names. It inspired me to make my story public for that reason, just so that people can see what this looks like and sounds like. I was born into the Vietnam War. When South Vietnam lost, my dad really felt that our lives were in danger. And so, literally, in the middle of the night, my dad packed us up and took us to a boat, and we fled in the middle of the night. He brought us to safety to a refugee camp on the beaches of Thailand. And we stayed at the refugee camp there for about 10 months. Now, our journey isn't as simple. Our journey, we met pirates, and it was very terrible conditions on the boat. Just imagine about 150 people gathered together in the hull of a fishing boat. Because my dad worked with the American Army on the South Vietnamese side, we did have offers from different countries to immigrate to, and so he chose Canada. When my mom realized we were coming to Canada, she had a lot of anxieties because we were coming to a land that we didn't know. But when we did hand over our papers to the immigration officer, he noticed that my name was very, very long, and so very quickly just scratched out the last one just so that it fit neatly on the line. And then we were hurried along. Now remember, I was 8 years old when I started school, so I know now as an educator, as a teacher, an 8-year-old child would be in grade 3, but they put me in kindergarten because in the early 1980s, I don't think people knew what to do with me. Here's this child who doesn't speak English, who is from a war-torn country, who, you know, is probably traumatized and probably had all kinds of learning issues. My kindergarten teacher showed me around the classroom, and then it came to calling me. She just felt that Hieu was not a word and said so. She's like, there are too many vowels in this and it's not really a word, so we're gonna call you Helen. All the teachers and all the children began calling me Helen. And that was how my name changed from Hieu to Helen. I didn't realize it at that time, but I think that was my first time of internalizing racism. When somebody does something to you without your consent, one of the reactions is you take it in and you believe them. And I think that act made me believe that I was not as good, or I was not as worthy. I think it made me feel like, of course you need to fix me. There's something wrong with me, so you need to fix me, and my job is to follow your lead. When I began my journey for my graduate studies, really made me look at what learning is and teaching is, because I took on a Master's of Education, and I had to really think about what am I presenting to children in schools. And it really made me think, oh my goodness, I'm presenting the very thing my kindergarten teachers presented to me. I'm presenting to them that they need to assimilate to be successful. I'm presenting that they need to turn away from their true cultures, their true heritage, unless it was a European heritage. It made me really think. And in that process, I remember being in my kitchen, and I literally wrote and wrote and wrote, and I began to cry because I realized I was perpetuating this racist structure in my classroom to my students for 15 or more years now. So that was my first glimpse of understanding who I was and what I was doing. The little girl isn't just about a name. It's about all the isms that we think about that contribute to others who walk among us not being treated as well. And it could be people who have different cultures. It's about racism, ableism, classism, sexism, homophobia. But it's how can we work together to be more inclusive. I'm so proud of my name now. I'm really proud that I stuck it through thick and thin, and I won't ever say that my name is something else anymore.